What's good, Commanders fans? And shout out to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Make sure you guys check them out. If you would have picked Commanders money line, you definitely would have cashed out. And also, Jaden Daniels passing touchdowns as he threw 5 passing touchdowns on the #1 defense in the NFL. But yeah, I mean, still celebrating this victory against the Eagles yesterday, where Jaden Houdini put the cape on his back, the Superman cape, and threw 5 touchdowns, a clutch touchdown with 9 seconds left in the game, 3 seconds left in the game, ran for it on 4th and 11, got a first down, ran for it on 4th and 4, got a first down, juked Jalen Carter out of his shoes, threw a big-time pass to De'Ami Brown, cooked Quintamino Bay, connected on a touchdown pass to Terry McLaurin, threw 2 touchdown passes to Alameda Zacchaeus, 2 touchdown passes to Jameson Crowder. I mean, there's just so many historical things that Jaden did yesterday, and then also just the team collectively as a unit, as a recalibration, as a culture. First time being 10-5 since 1991. So many records being broken and so many new trends being set by this franchise. With a great game yesterday, I posted the picture on my community tab with Joe Witt Jr., having fun, doing this and stuff like that, being young and being hip. Gotta love Joe Witt Jr. As I thought he coached a pretty good second half. I'll say that the first half was a little shaky. He almost had us in the first half, not gonna lie. But Joe Witt Jr. got it done in the second half. And I get it. Jalen Hurts was out of the game. I know Eagles fans are going to use excuse after excuse after excuse. Like C.J. Gardner-Johnson was ejected, even though it was warranted. And, he got ejected. And even when he was in the game, we were moving the football against them with C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the game because he was in there for the first touchdown to Terry. And then I believe he was in there for the second touchdown as well. So it's not like he was stopping anything, it's not like he was shutting it down or whatever. But no, it was a good win, guys. And I do want to go over updated playoff scenarios. We are definitely going to make the playoffs. I said that a couple weeks ago. I know I don't want to put the horse in front of the cart. We still have to win one of the 2 games. There is a way where, it's not likely to happen. If we did lose the next 2 games, which I don't believe is going to happen, if the Panthers beat the Buccaneers, we automatically make the playoffs. So there's a way we can make the playoffs before 8:20 on Sunday Night Football at home against the Falcons. But you don't want to think too much about scenarios, and it could be like Alan from The Hangover, where you see the mathematical equations spinning around and stuff like that. To make it simple and not have to make it a mathematic thing, you just win and you're in. If we win one of the 2, or even if we win both, and the crazy thing is too, like, there still is a possibility we could win in the NFC East. It's probably not going to happen. Like, even if Jalen Hurts is concussed for their next game, like, you look at the Eagles' schedule and they play like the Giants. They play the Cowboys, who actually played well last night. The Cowboys beat the Buccaneers with Cooper Rush, and they're eliminated because we eliminated them, which made it even more sweet that we eliminated the Cowboys and the Niners after our win. The Cowboys are playing hard. I will say that Michael Parsons is still playing. Cooper Rush is still playing pretty well, and CeeDee Lamb is playing pretty decent football. So the Eagles could lose to the Cowboys. You just don't know, man. You never know. They definitely could lose to the Cowboys on Sunday, especially if Kenny Pickett is playing. They could lose that game. The Giants are just so awful, and they want the first pick of the draft because they want Shedeur Sanders. So I'm just going over the scenario of the NFC East. I do want to give a shout out to a couple rookies other than Jaden and Mikey Sanders, still the usual suspects. I do want to give them. I want to give 2 rookies their props for how they played yesterday a little bit later in the video. But that's how we can win the NFC East, because if we end up 12-5 and the Eagles end up 12-5, we win the tie. We win the tiebreaker, I believe. We have a conference record of 7-3. We both have a conference record of 7-3. So if we win the next 2 games, we would be 9-3, and the Eagles would be 9-3 in the conference. And if they lose the next 2 games, they would be 7-5 in the conference, and they would be 12-5 overall. We would be 12-5 as well if we win the next 2 games, but we would be 9-3 in the conference, and we beat them. It would be tied head to head in the matchup against the Eagles, but the conference record, we would have the better conference record. So that's how we would win the NFC East and be 12-5. So that's how we could do that, and we could get a home game, a playoff home game that I talked about a couple weeks ago, but of course that didn't happen. But I'm fine with just getting into the playoffs for sure. And then the other scenario is getting that 6th seed as well. So the Packers. So yeah, we can still capture the number 6. This is from John Combs. So Washington can still capture the number 6 seed. Green Bay's 10-4 right now. They have a half-game lead entering tonight's game versus New Orleans, which they probably will win. But if the Commanders and Packers tie, but if he says if the Commanders and Packers tie, Washington wins the tiebreaker with a better conference record. The Packers play at Minnesota next week, so the Packers they're going to dog walk the Saints tonight, but they do play the Vikings, who are a juggernaut. The Vikings are 13-2. They just beat the Seahawks last night, and the Vikings are fighting for that home field advantage with that first spot against the Lions. Them against the Lions, the Vikings could finish the season 15-2. And the Lions could finish the season 15-2 as well. But if I had to bet money, the Packers versus the Vikings, that's a darn good matchup. That's a toss-up kind of game there, too. I got to see where that game is at, actually. Let me look that up real quick. But that's a heck of a game to have for one of the last games of the season, for sure. They play at Minnesota. This is the last game of the season, December 29th. No, I'm sorry. This is next week. It's not the last game. It's the second to last game of the season. And it's in Minnesota. So Minnesota is going to have that home field advantage. So honestly, I really feel like Minnesota is going to beat the Packers. So let's say we do finish 11-5, and we could definitely. Oh no, hold on. So let's say we do finish 11-5, and the Packers finish 11-5. We would win the tiebreaker. But they do play the Bears the week after next. So most likely, the Packers are going to beat the Bears. The Bears are just so bad. They really are. We ended their season with the Hail Mary, so the Packers probably going to end 12-5. So for us to really get that 6th seed, we got to finish 12-5. We got to finish our food. We can't play around the food that's in front of us. Finish our meal, beat the Falcons and beat the Cowboys, and finish 12-5. And that's how we would have to get the 6th seed. Because looking at the Packers, they're most likely they're going to beat the Saints tonight, of course, with Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler's going to get the start. And then they play the Bears for that last game. So they're definitely going to win that game. They're going to win that game for sure. So those are the playoff scenarios. I think that's about it for the scenarios. Like I said, the best we can do is somehow miraculously win the NFC East, but the Eagles have to have a super collapse and lose to the Giants and Cowboys. And then for the 6th seed, we would really have to finish 12-5 and tie with Green Bay, because Green Bay they're going to beat the Saints and they're going to beat the Bears. For sure. They probably will lose to the Vikings, though. That's what I got. So that's it for the scenarios. Like I said, I don't want to put the cart in front of the horse or the horse in front of the cart, or however the saying goes. But, of course, we have to look at scenarios. And I say this every time because we had a previous coach that did not know he could be eliminated. And I don't want Dan Quinn to get on to the press conference and say he didn't know we could be eliminated, or he didn't know we could do this. He didn't know we could get this seed. He didn't know we could get home field advantage. I do feel like analytically the coach should be engaged. Now, the players, if they want to stay out of the loop or whatever and just stay eyes on the prize and stay focused, that's fine. But as a coach, you need to know every playoff scenario and drill that into the coaching staff, and maybe let the players know too. Like, hey, urgency. It's something called urgency, and Ron just didn't have that urgency against the Browns, and we got beat up in that game, and we got eliminated. And we deserve to be eliminated. If you have a coach that didn't know you could be eliminated, you deserve to be eliminated. Simple as that. All right, so I do want to give some props to some guys. Some rookies from yesterday, other than Jaden. Of course, Jaden, he's getting a lot of praise. Like Dan Orlovsky said that he was the best player in the NFL yesterday, which is true. And Shannon Sharp said he's the offensive rookie of the year. Stephen A. Smith agreed. I mean, remember when people were talking about Bo Nix? Remember when that was the thing? Isn't that so funny to look back on? If you're like, oh my gosh, Bo Nix is going to get the rookie of the year. That was so funny. That was so hilarious. Looking back at that now. Let's talk about Johnny Newton. So shout out to my guy, Pedro. Make sure you guys subscribe to Pedro Smith. That's my guy. I'm going to put his channel link down below in the description so you guys can subscribe to him. Also, subscribe to Commanders Kings. We should be going live tonight. Me, Louis T, Rio, and Street Scores should be going live tonight. Have a lot of fun enjoying this Eagles win, this Eagles victory. So Johnny Newton had 6 tackles, 5 solo tackles, 1 sack, and 3 tackles for loss, and 1 quarterback hit. And remember, he had a really good game against the Saints, too, where he had a really, really high PFF grade. And basically, he did it again, following up with another good game, getting pressure, slowing down the run game in the second half. He was a big part of that, slowing down Saquon. Now, we let Saquon get that 70-yard run in the first half, but in the second half, we didn't let that happen. I get it. Kenny Pickett was in the game, so the game was different. Just the dynamic of the quarterback position and the dual threat of the quarterback was gone when Kenny Pickett came in. But still, like, Saquon. We've seen Saquon with the Giants do stuff like that with Tommy DeVito at quarterback. Saquon has hurt us with Tommy DeVito at the quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, who can move, he's mobile, but Tyrod Taylor, throughout the latter part of his career, he's still in the league, is not that super shifty mobile quarterback that he was before. And Saquon was still able to go off with quarterbacks that could barely move or not super mobile or doing a tush push. So I still have to give credit to Johnny Newton stepping up and getting those sacks, playing well. And you got Jonathan Allen, who most likely is going to be back this week. So you get a guy that can be fresh. Johnny Newton can be fresh. John Allen can be fresh. Daron Payne, even though he had that face mask. Sheldon Day and other guys like that. Carl Davis. So, I mean, Johnny Newton right now, he's starting to get a couple sacks on the season. Let me see how many sacks he has on a year now. And this is a guy who missed a couple games to start his career. So right now he has about 2 sacks on the season. Yeah, he has 2 sacks on the season. Hold on, yeah, ESPN is showing something different. Yeah, he has 2 sacks on the season, 18 solo tackles and 1 forced fumble. So the guy's out there making plays. He's making plays. So he's getting better and better each game. 22 years old, second round pick, second round still, Adam Peters masterclass once again. And then I want to talk about Luke McCaffrey. These are the little things. So it's not like super flashy stuff. Now, kick returns are legit, but he gave us good field position over and over and over again. There was a time that he ran the ball to like the 35 or 36. And then on top of that, the Eagles got penalized. So it tacked on to the kick return and things like that. Luke, he had 6 kickoff returns for 184 yards. So I think he definitely is our number 1 kick returner, especially with Austin Eckler being out. Austin Eckler was our number 1 kick returner, as he had a really good kick return against the Bengals. And Luke is finding ways. Like, Luke's like, okay, I'm getting separation. You guys aren't getting me the football, or me and Jaden are just not seeing eye to eye. But there's got to be another way I can impact the team, whether it's blocking, whether it's special teams. Luke McCaffrey has stepped up to help this team, and I love that he's doing that as a kick returner. You see the energy, you see the burst, you see the explosiveness that he has on returning kicks, and he's been super impactful for the past 2 games. His first time returning kicks was against the Saints, and like I said, he was impactful, man. Field position is super, super important. It's the little things. It's the intangibles right now. And Luke did a really good job of that. And Luke had 1 catch for 13 yards. That was a screen catch and run. And he scampered up the field for 13 yards, got the first down, and moved the chains. So that's all I can really ask for from Luke McCaffrey right there. So those are the 2 rookies that I really wanted to shout out for sure. If you want to look at PFF numbers, Bobby Wagner had a 90.8. Freaky Louvu had a 79.5. Alameda Zacchaeus had a 74.9. Jaden Daniels had a 74.8. Probably because of the 2 interceptions. If it wasn't for those, he probably would have had like a 90 PFF or one of the highest PFF grades. Brandon Coleman had a 72.1. So Brandon Coleman had a good day. And he had a better day than what he did. And honestly, we did a good job of protection. So this is from Ben Sandick as well. 1 week after allowing 8 sacks, the Commanders surrendered only 1 to the Eagles. We only gave up 1 sack, guys. That was huge. Because Eagles fans want to make excuses about Jalen Hurts being out, but their defense didn't do anything. They had an all-pro in Zach Bond, all-pro in Pro Bowler in Jalen Carter, Darius Slay, Quintanamo fake Quintanamo Bay, Reed Blankenship, Cooper DeJean, all those guys on the defensive line in the secondary, C.J. Gardner-Johnson for the first half, all the guys that they hype up so much and say that they're just great players and number 1 defense in the league. Vic Fangio is their defensive coordinator, who's been the best defensive coordinator this year by far, and they still couldn't stop Jaden Daniels. Jalen Carter got AI crossovered on that run and got cooked. Got juked out of his shoes. Jaden made Jalen Carter miss in the phone booth. Couldn't catch him. So even though the pressures per dropback, 42.2% were similar to the Saints game, 44.4% per PFF. So that was a great thing right there. Jaden did have a good amount of time in the pocket too. Like, he hung in the pocket and made quick decisions, but he was able to deliver the ball to De'Ami Brown, Terry McLaurin on big passes, Alameda Zacchaeus, and they had 12 men on the field. So they were all over the place. They were very discombobulated, man. And Zach Bond got cooked on that Jamison Crowder touchdown pass that Jaden threw right over the middle. It was a precision pass, just beautiful pass by Jaden Daniels for that touchdown. So that's about it. That's all I got for you guys. Of course, there's some amazing stats that I could go over. Terry McLaurin has 142.2 passer rating when targeted this season, first among all wide receivers. Jaden was the first rookie quarterback in NFL history to throw for 5 touchdowns and rush for 65-plus yards in a game. Jaden's just been super, super clutch. The Commanders are averaging 28.8 points per game, highest scoring average for a team with a full-time rookie quarterback in at least the last 20 years. I can just go over and over and over about the stats, guys. Jaden Daniels is clutch. First rookie in NFL history to have multiple go-ahead pass touchdowns in the final 30 seconds of regulation. So he's just a stud, man. And we are just grateful to have him as our quarterback. And for the next couple of years, he's going to be tormenting the league in the NFC East. So as you guys, as always, enjoy this win. Keep our eyes on the prize. Move on to the next. I will be making a video after Dan Quinn has his press conference today, updating us on Marshawn Lattimore and maybe Jonathan Allen, as well as De'Ami Brown. Hell's Commanders. Peace.